How's it going, everybody? I am back in Fallout 4. This time I am at County Crossings, and I'm going to be building some defenses here. So this is going to be one of them. I have a couple videos that are going to be defenses. And so this one is going to just be a bus that's kind of broken on the side of the road that I'm going to turn into kind of a defense post and then a guard post. Also going to give them a bed in there and then probably then also a way to get up on top of it so that it'll be a little bit of like a more of a defensive post. There'll be some stuff on top, but you'll notice that I put down like 20 of these rugs. Just makes it easier so I don't have to go through my menu so often trying to get rugs out because it's pretty annoying. Right now I'm just trying to get this rug at the right position so that I can pillar glitch this onto the end over here. And I wanted to have this floor. I saw this somewhere in the game. I do not remember where, but they had this floor on the edge of a bus. They used the shack bridge. I end up just using plywood pieces. So this is sort of like similar to something that is in the game. I think it was just in downtown Boston, but I make it a little bit more, I don't know, built up, guarded. Um, but yeah, this week is just gonna be county crossing videos and stuff. This is probably gonna be a little bit bigger of a settlement. I got quite a few ideas for it. I'll probably end up actually fencing off a couple sections of this settlement. It'll probably be sectioned off. The garden will probably end up being smaller in the end, and then I'll probably like close that off a little bit. But on this front end, I wanted to close off as much of this as I could, and so I just used these backwards junk fences. And for the last spot, I get one of these corner pieces, and I try to get it to where it goes on there. I needed to move the pillar to get it to work, yeah. And then now it's just a matter of actually getting it to work. Uh, I think, yeah, I don't even bother with it. I just use place anywhere. And then I just pick it up and I move it around this front end of the bus. I didn't want to have to put down a bunch of different walls, so I just went ahead and used one of these corner pieces. This has got barbed wire on it. Mainly the only issue I had here was trying to get it to fit all the way around the bus with like the minimal amount of clipping. And with the least amount of gaps. There was like a small gap between the two junk fences, but I'm not really that bothered by that. But now it's just a matter of filling in this back area. And so I didn't exactly know what to do. I realized the first thing is that I didn't even place down the piece that I said that I wanted, or that I had picked out to put down. And so I ended up placing that on the junk wall farthest away, because this is going to be sort of similar to the stairwell uh, from what's the settlement? Coastal Cottage. So, the one that I literally just left. And you can see it's kind of a pain to get this on, so I just use the place anywhere glitch, not glitch, place anywhere tool to just place this on the edge so that there's a walkway up. The place anywhere tool is kind of giving me some issues again. Not really that bad. So I tried to use the pillar glitch as often as possible. But I can't always get it to work, you know. The pillar glitch doesn't always work the way that it should or that I want it to. So a lot of the time I have to figure out ways to do things without it. So like right here, I just placed that where it was at the right angle that it would snap up, and then on this one I placed it down to where it's like flat even with the floor. I tried moving it over a little bit because I'll just fill in the gaps with plywood, and then up here to kind of fill the gap between the shack bridge and the bus I use a pallet. And so I messed with this one for a while, and really I think that the stackable one would have worked better. Uh, and then I placed this one on the edge of the bus, but it doesn't really fit all that well. Then on top of the bus, because there's kind of steps up anyway, because it kind of, the shape of the bus kind of works as steps anyway, I just put some plywood pieces down, like as a path. And I placed it kind of outwards so that they don't have to walk straight onto the bus, because AI won't path that. It'll be really hard for them to do. And so I just placed that all the way down. There's a tree in the way. I kind of wish that wasn't there. But I make use of that tree in this build, actually. You'll notice that also with that tree being there, I kind of glitched the junk wall that wraps around the front of the bus through it. And it does kind of look weird, but not really that bad. And then right here is just me adjusting this so that it's not clipping through the bottom of the bus. And then also kind of looks like it's actually there. And then to make it look like it's not just floating the plywood that you walk onto, I got this cinder block and I just decided that I would place it down, but it doesn't really look like. I couldn't really get it in the position that I wanted, so what I ended up doing is getting this one that's kind of at an angle that kind of like slips, kind of hangs down on one end, and I use the place anywhere tool to get it to place on top of the cinder blocks, and then also on top of the bus. So pretty much from here on out, it's just kind of some details that I need to work out. I tried to prevent this from looking like it's floating, so I placed down some posts on the corners of this bottom one at least, because to get it to fit on the top one, I would have had to have used place anywhere and place one like way deep in the ground, just guessing the height, and then it would have kind of been a pain in the butt. But yeah, as you can see, it doesn't really, like I placed it and you can see that it's floating. And so even with it at its lowest height, it wouldn't have worked. This corner may have, but what I ended up doing anyway is I just support the shack bridge portion from this corner, and so it kind of looks like it's holding up the metal part, and it kind of also looks like it's holding up the shack bridge. But yeah, I think that that looks pretty good. And up here, I'm gonna throw on, put together some of the details of this. And so I thought about placing down a guard, like barricade, but I end up opting against that. I'll just go for some cinder blocks instead. I just place them down on the edge of the bus. And with these here, these do clip through the roof of the bus a little bit, but I didn't notice it till I was really looking for any like clipping textures or anything. And you can see that with the bus height, the like very top of the bus, that kind of fits in there perfect. Almost matches up with the top of the other cinder block. And so right here I'm just trying to get it to be pretty lined up. And I end up taking it down because it does kind of look like it's floating. So what I do is I use the place anywhere tool and I fall off of the staircase twice. And I just place it a little bit lower so that it doesn't look like it's quite so floaty. Then also I just scoot it in a little bit so that it's nice and close to it. Now it's a matter of just some of the like finer details of this is just kind of closing off some of the areas. Like I use these cinder block walls to fill in the gaps on this side. And it is kind of clipping, but I think it would have been alright. But I moved it out a little bit. And then I move it down. It didn't necessarily need to be that tall. Trying to figure out what wall I want to put in front of it. This one's got a bunch of different heights and stuff, so I think that it looks pretty good. I just like things that don't look so uniform. Unless it's like intentionally supposed to look that way, but you can see that that's like way out on the side, so I move it in to be flat. Because if you place down cinder blocks, you're just going to lay it up against the other one, so that kind of makes sense for it to be a little bit cleaner. Because whoever places these is still gonna like try to make them flat, you know, and it's still gonna look a little bit cleaner so that they do a better job at like protecting stuff. But here in a second, I'll get it back to day. And so from here, I'm gonna just be working on kind of finishing up this interior of this bus. I gotta find where the height kind of starts changing, and then because if I go down there, it still kind of looks like it's floating, so yeah. And so I noticed that it landed on the shack bridge, so now I can kind of do what I wanted to do, where I'll just fill in the gaps with the plywood pieces. And what's really frustrating to me is that I can't place it far enough. I have a problem placing it far enough right to fill in the floor of the bus, so I think that I end up having to use place anywhere, or I may not even mess with it, but if you are going to fill it in, you're definitely going to have to use place anywhere, or the rug glitch. I guess you could use the rug glitch technically, just use some rugs. It's going to take a couple rugs. I just feel like that's a lot of extra work just for a piece of plywood. Or you can leave it empty and there'll be this little gap on the side, which I mean, it's not like it's awful, but I just placed items in front of that area, so that's why I had placed floors down. Yeah, so right now I'm just trying to figure out what exactly I need to do. So I thought about using a sandbag, but I realized that that's not really going to fit uh, anywhere up here. everything is pretty good, but I do need it down there, yeah. So this is where I do use the place anywhere tool to get it at the right height and also not really clipping through a bunch of stuff. So I gotta move it over a little bit. It would have been just clipping through that wall. So right there's real good, and then I grab another one, and I just kind of I do this pretty frequently, where I just kind of make them clip. I try to make sure that none are kind of sticking out of each other. And then also I always try to make sure that a majority of the sandbag is above the floor that it's on. Because if it clips through, it kind of looks alright. It doesn't look awful, but it also kind of looks a little wonky. So up on top of this, I just added some guardrails for the walkway. I used the catwalk guardrails. You can also use the what is it? The rails from the concrete tab. Those look good too. Uh, but yeah, this is the final tour. So this is the finished bus with decorations and everything like that. You can see I added like a Miniman flag, some barrels kind of everywhere. Miniman sign. Boarded up some of the windows. Got a little turret up on the roof. How I said I was going to use that tree, I used it to kind of place a hanging lantern from one of the branches. That is kind of leaning down about head height. But I think that this looks really good for just like a pretty simple defense. And of course, you don't even have to go this heavy on like detail. Like, it still looks really good just plain. You could use this really easily. You could just add a building on the back end or something like that. Have a staircase just up to the top of it. You can do this with a regular bus. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this, and let me know if there's any other defenses that, or well, any other buildings that you guys would like to see at Coastal Cottage. I have a couple ideas already. I'm going to rebuild the house at some point. Still not sure how I'm going to do it, but we'll see, I guess. Got a couple more defenses. Got another, I'm going to do like a little RV, because I've been wanting to use that. Haven't really found a place, but I think it works here. This is going to be a really scrappy settlement. I'm trying to make it look like a bunch of scavenger people. I've kind of turned this area into like a junkyard type of place. But let me know what you guys think of this, and check out some of my other builds while you're here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you like Fallout 4 builds. This week, I'm going to be starting Destiny 2. I'll probably live stream the first like day that I play it, and probably actually until I really beat it. It's probably only going to take me a couple days, but let me know what you guys think of that. Let me know what you guys would like to see from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.